what I've noticed in the industry is some people are really good at writing business, but they're not necessarily good at building teams. And I think this is the difference. The people that are good at writing business can do it because it's more transactional. Something where you can see the person, sign them up, and then, you might touch base here and there, but it's a more transactional situation. But when you go to building a team, that's relational.
Yes.
And I think that's the rub for a lot of people. And this is one of the best, if not the best person I've ever seen at like building a team. So that's why it was really simple for me to come over here and align myself with him.
Welcome back to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. Chris is on my side of the table again today.
Dude, that's kind of cool. I like
Which
it over
means
here.
something.
Yeah.
That always means something. That means we've got two very special guests in the house. In the house. We've got in the house Mr. Jonathan Henderson.
What up, what up?
And Mr. Akil Huntley Cooper.
Yeah,
How's it going, gentlemen?
It's going awesome. Glad to be here in Louisville.
Welcome
Yeah,
to the
man.
Life
Love it.
Insurance Academy podcast.
Thanks for having us on.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're from, just a quick family background bio, and then we're going to get into it. We got some great stuff for agents today. Today we're going to talk about their journey into the business and their vision for the business and growing and scaling. Akil's a relatively new agent in the industry, not new to entrepreneurship or business.
Yeah.
And Jonathan's had many businesses and has had success in the past 2 years. And they're gonna bring a unique perspective today. But why don't we hear a little bit about your background, man? Where are you from? Who are you? Your family? What makes you tick? What's going on?
Oh, my family is what makes me tick. So that's a good role in there, man. I appreciate that. So my name is Jonathan Henderson. I'm from a little small community in the upstate area of South Carolina called Blue Ridge. Whenever I do speak, it's really pretty cool because I ask anybody if they've ever heard of Blue Ridge, South Carolina. There's always like one or two people that raise their hand. I'm like, oh, there's the rednecks that are in the
There's the rednecks.
because nobody knows where Blue Ridge, South Carolina, because it's a figment of your imagination. You can't find Blue Ridge, South Carolina on the map, but it is northern Greenville County.
Okay.
So I'm 45 years young. I've lived in my community all but for about 2 years. That's when I, decided to go to college and do all that good stuff, and got married and lived in, Spartanburg, which at that time might as well have been California.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
man. It's like we don't get out much.
So folks who don't know, Spartanburg, how far is that from?
20, 30-minute drive. Yeah, it's not
Greenville,
far.
Spartanburg is essentially one metropolitan area.
It's almost smack dab in the middle between Charlotte and Atlanta. So we got back to the Ridge as fast as we possibly could. I've
great,
got
man.
2 kids. Well, I actually have 3. I got 3 now because my son just got married in October. But my daughter-in-law, she's been in the family for about 10 years already. So
Yeah.
they finally got out of college and decided to tie the knot. So my son is 24. And my daughter, who just graduated Clemson last year, so they're all 3 Clemson graduates.
That's awesome.
My daughter's 22, and my daughter-in-law is 22.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
so I've been
cool.
married 25 years to my wife, Julie. Life is good.
That's
Life
cool,
is
man.
really, really good.
So who's this guy you brought with
This
you
is my
today?
guy. Now,
Who is
here's-
this guy?
Here's something crazy is I can't believe that we're actually sitting at the table talking about insurance
Yeah.
Right.
because Akil had pushed me off and pushed me off and pushed me off. And you know what? I believe that relationships are relationships. It doesn't matter what you're doing in business or anything else like that. Just because you're in business, it doesn't mean that all your friends have to be in business with you, that sort of thing. But, it was one of those things where Akil was like, yeah, I just don't think it's for me. It's not the right thing. I'm like, bro, wake up. Like, you have never seen what you could do here. This is crazy. We killed this. We've done business in the past. And I'm like, bro, I had to pull the do you trust me card out.
Oh.
And now he's sitting here today.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Now, did you say that back to him? Do you trust me in this new relationship that you're actually connected in now? Or
Yeah.
how did
That's
that
a
work?
whole nother
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. No, I definitely trust Hindu. I've known Hindu for a long time now, and we've done business in the past together. And it wasn't that I didn't want to do business with Hindu. That was never it. It was just making the transition from a fun business that we were used to doing something that I thought wasn't actually going to be fun. I never thought like life insurance would be a fun business to be in. But I got to tell you, like I told you guys last night, I'm having the time of my life. I can't believe that it's actually fun for me to do.
So where are you from and what's your background, and how'd you end up in the insurance business connected with this dude?
So I'm originally from Wisconsin, the Madison, Wisconsin area. My mom would be upset if I don't say Fitchburg because she was the first African-American mayor in the state of Wisconsin.
What's your mom's name?
Frances Huntley Cooper.
Frances?
Yes.
And is she there?
Yes, she's still there. Yep. And
Let's give her a shout out.
Yeah.
On the podcast,
Where do I look? Hey, Mom,
right there in the camera.
Mom, love you. Happy Mother's Day in advance.
Happy Mother's Day.
But
You play this for every Mother's Day.
But I'll tell you.
We'll save this episode for it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, she says, you're not from Madison, you're from Fitchburg, right? So
She'll be proud you said that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm originally from the Fitchburg, Wisconsin area. I'm currently living out in Des Moines, Iowa. I moved out that way due to I got into some hailstorm work, and that's where the hailstorm took me. And thought I'd be out there for 6 months. Ended up staying out there for a little bit longer than that, and I'm loving it. I have 2 boys, 22 and 18, and they're enjoying themselves and all that good stuff. And as far as like what got me into like the life insurance business, it was really, I had a friend named Cindy, and one day Cindy just called me up and she said, and Hindu was calling me too, by the way, and she called me up and she said, Akil, I just want to let you know that this year I made $600,000 in the insurance space. I want to fly you out to Vegas. I want you to come and meet some ownership, and I want you to see what's going on. And I just said, first of all, I knew Cindy from our direct sales business from before. And I don't ever remember Cindy being a top producer, like just was not a top producer. She didn't get, maybe a handful of sales.
Now, when you say your former business, what was that?
So I was in the travel space, which is where I met Jonathan Henderson. And so we basically built out big sales organizations to market a membership for travel. So
in that organization, she didn't stand out.
Man, that would be an underwhelming statement. I mean, Cindy did not stand out. She was a great person. I knew she tried really hard, but that business was tough for a lot of people. It wasn't just Cindy. It was like most people, didn't really do that well in that business. I mean, it just took a lot, right? So when I heard her say that she made $600,000 and she was flying me out to meet some ownership, I was like, Cindy made $600,000. Like, we're about to get rich, right? Like, that's crazy. So I got really, really excited. And and to Cindy's credit, I'm going to tell you, she has just blossomed into just the Cindy I remember and the Cindy she's evolved into in this business. Like now she's a mentor, she's a leader. She coaches me on a regular basis. Her and her husband Jason. Like the success that I've had in this business because of Hindu, because of Cindy, because of Jason, and just the support team that we've had around us. So it's made it an easy transition. And like I said from the beginning, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I can't do something if it's not fun. It's not that I can't do it. It's just I don't want to do it. So again, when I first got into the business, I'm like, is this going to be fun? But I got to tell you, like sitting down with people and talking about, where they're at in life and helping them, find, products and services that help in their life in that time. I mean, that's actually a lot of fun.
It's so interesting you say that. I'm actually reading a book again now for like the 3rd time called Drive by Daniel Pink. Daniel Pink's like a student of human behavior, a psychologist, sales guy. He's on master class. Like he does a lot of things. And just this morning on the way back from the airport, before we got here, I was listening, and he was talking about how humans are motivated by things that are fun for them, things they enjoy doing. And he was talking about intrinsic value and extrinsic value. So when we try to incentivize fun things with the reward, it's not the same as the value that comes from an intrinsic. It's not the same result as something that comes from an intrinsic value of doing something because you love doing it. And it was interesting how motivation can sometimes be stunted when we put a monetary value on something that you should enjoy doing, but now you just start doing it for the reward, and you're not doing it because you love it. And, just hearing you talk at dinner last night and yesterday, in our conversations about how you like doing things with other people.
That's right.
I am that person too.
That's
like
right.
I want to invite people into my story, and I want to engage in their story and help them win. And when we win together, it's a rush. Like that's why I like doing life with these guys right here
Yeah.
because life is fun when you do it together with other people and you help each other win. And so I see that in you, and I see that as an intrinsic value of yours.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I do feel that, one of the things that, Hindu and I talk about with our prior business that made it so fun when you really step back and you think about it is that we did it with our friends.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
So to come over here and be able to build something out once again with friends that have like some of the same belief systems, some of the same goals, some of the same dreams, that's just fun. I mean, we literally talk to our friends on a regular basis when it comes to the building side.
You talked about doing things together. Well, in my belief system, we were designed to walk with God in the cool of the day. We were never designed to be alone.
Yes.
And so we're not designed to do life alone, much less work alone. But most people, they live through, their regular 9 to 5, job, 5 days a week, going through the grind, and they're having to do life with people that they didn't necessarily choose to do life with.
Correct.
And they're miserable.
Yeah.
We get to pick who we do life with.
That's right.
How cool is that? And then the funny thing about it is, it's like you find so many more people that will become, your chosen family, because I know that if Akil's bringing somebody to the table, I'm more than likely going to like them because Akil likes them.
That's right.
Dude, how awesome is that?
That
It's
is
a
awesome.
great business model.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it's like we're putting together our own team, like the draft, right?
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is I'll have someone on the list, and we'll be like, "What about that person?" We'll be like,
We've
we
literally
did business
went,
with that person in the past. Great
They're building a super
producer,
team.
Yeah.
great producer, but this right here isn't going to gel with our team, and we'll
Correct.
not bring that person on board or have that conversation. But then there's other people we get excited about, going out and sharing the idea with.
Well, this is interesting to me. It's so fascinating to hear you guys talk about this. This idea of fun. If I listed these ingredients, of the process, purchase your leads, route your leads, go knock on doors, do a presentation, write an application, and I asked you which one of those bring the fun to you.
It's you know what
There's process
you know
and
what it is?
procedures. There's process and procedures in everything.
Right.
It's the mindset.
Yes.
Like it depends on what your mindset is going that morning, because you can list all those things that you just listed and you can make it bad. It can be not fun.
Yeah.
But if your mindset is right, if your vision is right, if your goal is right, if your heart is right,
Yes.
if all of that is going the right direction that day, every single one of those things can be
He
fun.
just went deep.
Well, that's
Like,
what I
was
need. I
gonna
wanted
use
to
like
get
a-
to. That's what I wanted to hear.
I know. Like I was
Yeah.
going to use a fun analogy. Like, has anybody went down a water slide?
But I'll
Like seriously, you ever went down? Is a water slide not amazing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you gotta climb all the way up the ladder.
That's right.
You gotta make sure that your swimming trunks are tied really tight because they might come off. Like you got things. It's just process and procedures that you got to
Right.
do to be able to get through the fun.
That's right.
you got to show your belly even
that's-
before 75 hard.
Oh,
That's right.
I know. Shout out Andy Frisillo, 75 hard.
There you go. That's what I appreciate it, and I know this that you bring the fun.
Yeah.
Like that is the attitude
he
that you're
brings the
bringing
fun,
to
all
it.
right.
He brings the fun, all right, and you're going to run into people. You're going to have some great conversations. You're going to hear some stories. You're going to take home some
absolutely.
vegetables. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
all that stuff's going to happen. You know that at the very beginning. So routing a lead is just a thing you do. That's part of
absolutely.
the story.
Yeah.
and then that's part of the process.
If you don't do it, you don't have no fun.
That's right. But then you guys have a different perspective in this. That's I think probably different than a lot of agents. There's something running in this engine of vision. I would call it a vision that makes it more fun that a lot of agents may not even.
I think they got into the business not to sell life insurance.
That sounds very funny to a lot of people, I think.
I don't think they got in the business to sell life insurance. Did you guys get in the business to sell life insurance?
No, definitely not.
It's part of the process. No.
Yeah.
So let's pause right there. Did you hear that? They didn't get in the business to sell life insurance, but they're in the life insurance business.
Mhm.
Why would they do that? Why would you guys do that? So let me back up now, and I'm going to try to bring some context.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the business, and what's your success been since you got connected and got started? Where did you land, and just give it a little bio for the listeners so they have context to you.
Well, I hope this helps somebody, but it took me quite a long time to actually start writing business. I mean, I from the licensing process, the exploring, the finding the right company that I wanted to align myself with, finding the right people to align myself with. But when I actually started writing business was a handful of months ago. And then my first 30 days, I did over $20,000 in AP. And I got to also share this with everybody is I was scared the whole time. I mean, you know, just because you have success somewhere else, that doesn't always transfer into success over in another area, right? I mean, there's principles like we talked about earlier that you can definitely carry over, but you know, from getting started, doing the licensing, I was scared, to buying my leads. I was scared. I mean, we talked about, I think I had 100 and some leads come in before I even called my first one, right?
Buying leads.
I remember that call with you, like, do I have enough carriers? Where do I go next? What do I do?
Scared.
I'm like, what about your leads? He goes, oh, I've got well over 100 leads.
He's got leads laid out on his bed.
There's leads laying all over the place. He's like, where do I start?
Leads were falling out of my ears, right? Like, I mean, what a great problem to have. And then even picking up the phone for the first time, something I've done for, you know, decades in other parts of my life, you know, just picking up that phone and having that first phone call and going through a script. I was scared. Getting in the car to go talk to somebody, something I've done over and over in other businesses. I was scared the whole time, but, you know, I just, you know, felt the fear and decided to do it anyway. And, you know, I really didn't have a choice. Like, I had made a commitment that this was the direction that I was going to go. And I knew this. I knew that my first year was going to be the toughest year. And if I could just get through the first year and I gave it everything I had in that first year, the rest would come into play. I mean, I'm playing the long game, right? Second, third, fourth, fifth year. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Good.
So you've been in the business a relatively short period of time. Took you a while to get started, but then in your first 30 days, you wrote over 20 grand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But, you know, it was the support system.
So, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What led to that success in the first 30 days, even though it took you a while to get started? If you had to list, like, you know, these are some of the components that led to that.
Because I was so scared, I had no choice but to be 100% coachable. So when it came to doing a ride along, which for those listening, just getting in the car and riding along with somebody that has already been successful in the business, you know, I modeled myself after Jason Craig, getting on the phone with Jonathan Henderson, asking questions. You know, how does this work? What is this prescription? I mean, I was out there, you know, looking at bottles of prescriptions of stuff I can't pronounce. And
What's this gabapentin? Is that
Yeah.
for the sugar?
yeah, everybody's laughing when
for
I'm
the
pronouncing
sugar?
these
Oh, you're
words on
taking
this thing.
amlodipine?
Yeah.
You may not make it.
Amlodipine.
Yeah. So you know, and then just being able to call in and get help from Cindy. And I think that's the number one thing is, you know, just follow the system, just be coachable. And, you know, all I did, this is what I did. I just did the work. You know, I just picked up the phone. I just got in the car. I just did the things I was supposed to do. But at the end of the day, I just followed the system and the training that you guys put out there on a regular basis. Like, I just watched those videos and I would, in the mornings, I would just get a little bit of something from Life Insurance Academy every single morning.
That's
I would
awesome.
just watch different people that got on there.
That's cool, man.
And I would just try to figure out one thing that I could learn and put in my toolkit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it's mostly, you said earlier, it's mostly up here. It's mindset.
It's all mindset. Yeah.
So that's his journey. What were you doing? How did you get in the business, and what's been your success?
So, you know, we all went through the pandemic, and, you know, the one thing that didn't survive the pandemic was the one thing that I thought would always survive no matter what, which was travel. You know, we were selling travel club memberships, and, you know, we were living the good life. We'd done the work. You know, we'd reached the top level of the company. Everything was great. You know, we were doing what we wanted to do with whoever we wanted to do it, with whoever we wanted to do it with. We weren't making decisions based off of time or money, and then slam, that door got hit. It got hit for a lot of people. But then you're like, okay, you know, I'm 43 years old at that point. It's like, what do I do? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And the transition to insurance wasn't like, oh, I guess I'll go sell life insurance. You know, whenever you develop any amount of success, if I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but what I do realize is I need to be probably one of the dumber guys in the room, but I need to grow my room. And I got around some really, really smart financial people. And they talked about using, you know, insurance products to be able to, you know, grow and protect wealth and stuff like that. And so we were, you know, follow some mentors, and I'd referred over, you know, probably 600-800 people to use an insurance product that I wasn't going to receive a commission from.
Wow.
And most of those guys, you know, they bought the product, and I just did it
Those guys
because
are very, very appreciative, I'm sure.
He's like, really? You can do a licensing and a test in 3 days, and I should have just done that.
well, you know,
and then
I
referred them.
didn't at that time because I was in a place in my life to where, you know, time and money.
That wasn't your focus in
no.
creating something else.
I wanted to be able to bring value to my friends.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, you needed to do this.
Yeah.
Like you had to do this. And so, a lot of those people, got set up with a policy. And so I'm sitting there thinking, what do I want to do? What can I do? And you can go sell this and you can go sell that. But the one thing for me is I got caught off guard with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like I literally, people didn't, it's a proven fact that people don't fix the homes they live in or the cars that they drive to be able to afford to go on a family vacation every year. They won't pay bills to be able to go on a family vacation. I thought that there was no way that vacations would ever go anywhere. And then the world gets shut down.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, what industry can, we look to go into where it's not affected by the economy. It's not affected by, what goes on, with health crises and stuff like that. And in the insurance, I'm not going to throw a number out because I don't want to PFA a number, but I knew that the industry, insurance industry grew throughout the pandemic.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And I'm like, okay,
Substantially.
There again, I'm a lot like Akil. I'm coachable, I'm teachable. I know that there's systems where you can plug into it. If you just plug into the system, then everything else falls in line. And so I've done that before.
Yeah.
Why not just do it again in an industry to where if I do it in this industry right here, I never have to worry about anything ever again.
So you were building essentially a distribution in the travel business.
Sure. Yeah.
And that business came to a screeching halt.
Yep.
Travel didn't shut down completely, but your business was impacted.
Well, leisure travel did.
Leisure travel,
Yeah.
So it was only, 2.5, 3 years before it's starting to return. And there's still repercussions of it still today.
Yeah.
It's a mess. Airline companies are a mess. They're still understaffed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
We were both at that time marketing a membership that, when the pandemic hit, we didn't know how long the pandemic was, right? And we can look back and see how long it was, but we didn't know.
Yeah.
And our customers, they were calling into our parent company like, hey, can we pause the membership? And there is really no pause. It's like you're going to either cancel it or you're going to keep it. And who wants to keep something that they cannot use, for a year, 2 years, or whatever the case.
They
don't even know
membership during the pandemic because I couldn't get access to the club the way I wanted to.
You can't play. You can't play.
So we had built big teams, had big organizations. Both of us had, different levels of success in that business. And to just watch that go away, it definitely, you got to sit back and reflect and figure out what you're going to do next.
Yeah.
So what do you see here that resembles that attracted you so much to say, hey, I can jump in here and build a fantastic business? And how does it compare to what you were doing before?
Well, it's, I feel like it's a product that everybody, needs. Not that they just want it. I mean, I've yet to find the person that says, I want insurance. Where you at? You've got to do the work. You got to go find, but everybody needs it. So it brings value to the marketplace. And I understand the more value you bring to the marketplace, the more desirable your product is, the more you're rewarded for it.
Absolutely.
And so we brought a lot of value before, but when you start to look at what we really do here, which is protect families, I mean, the stories that I've gotten, what I've been able to see where people, they've lost a loved one and they weren't prepared.
Yeah.
And now you see GoFundMe pages everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, Aunt Sally, she really wanted to get cremated. She wanted to have a funeral, but we couldn't afford it, stuff like that. But then you see the people that were smart and they were prepared. They had all their T's crossed, all their I's dotted. And even if it was something accidental, like a car wreck, or even if someone got cancer, because people do that nowadays, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just happens. It affects everybody. When that happens, if they're prepared, you watch the grieving in the morning isn't any more or any less, but it's one less thing that you've got to worry about when all of the house is taken care of, the cars are taken care of, the kids' school's taken care of. You don't have to worry about going and getting a second job or anything else like that just to be able to maintain the lifestyle because you're prepared. Like what other industry can you go in that you help people on that level? Tell me that and I'll sign up for it.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to find it. This is it. And so I was just very, 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 very blessed that, I believe that my steps are ordered. And I don't believe that God's the author of confusion. And I was in a confused state. I was hurt. I put my heart, life, soul into that business. I was devastated. Like we were smart with our money. We didn't just blow it. I literally did not leave my farm for a couple of years outside of going to, some school functions for my kids or to church. I stayed in my barn. I just built things around the farm. I didn't do anything. I was depressed.
Yeah.
Pour your heart, life, soul. So if I'm going to come out to do something, it's going to have to bring value.
Yeah.
And this brings, in my opinion, and everybody's got an opinion, but I believe that this industry brings more value than any other industry that you can get in on planet Earth. I'll debate anybody, anytime, anywhere on that fact.
That's strong, dude. We mentioned earlier that you didn't get in it to sell insurance. There's very clear that you're very passionate about it. That still may be a confusing statement for some agents who are listening to this. If they're hearing this for the first time, that idea, like you're in insurance, you're not in it to sell it.
You didn't get in to sell it, but you're really passionate about it.
Yeah,
What's going on here?
Can you share a little bit about what you see, what you see as far as scalability and building something?
For sure. So one of the deciding factors for me, and I'm not going to speak for Akil, but one of the deciding factors for me is I'm a team builder. I love building organizations. I love being around people. I love giving people an opportunity. We live in America. It's the land of opportunity, right? Like most people in our country, they're absolutely okay with sitting at home on the couch, eating Cheetos, watching TV.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to surround myself with those type of people. There's those type of people out there. But what I want to do is I want to find the go-getters. I want to find the ones that want more. I want the ones that actually want to live life. And this arena actually gives us an opportunity to show people an opportunity. I don't want to use the word print money because you got to go work. But you get to determine the level of income you make here. Akil can't decide what I make. You can't decide what I get to decide what I make here.
Right.
And the go-getters want that because it's endless. Like, let's be real. There isn't a ceiling on how much insurance you can sell. You go get it.
What does that mean? There's not a ceiling. One person?
There isn't a cap.
Individually, as a team, as an organization, break that down for the listeners.
Period.
What does that mean to you?
To me, it means that it's not an hourly rate. Like if I'm sure this is an amazing office. Like I was blown away when I drove here, and as clean as it is, I'm pretty sure that there's somebody that comes in after you guys leave and cleans this place.
Yes.
Correct.
Well, that's probably a $12 to $15 an hour job, right? And there's a ceiling that janitor is only going to be able to make $15 an hour. Now, I know that janitor as a person is probably worth way more than that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like that the work that they do, because they do great work. It was immaculate when we walked in here. Like it was exquisite. It was amazing. Like it was probably worth $20 an hour, $30 an hour. But there's a cap on what that person's going to make. Well, here doing what we do, there isn't a cap. If you go out and you do the work and you put in the work, you can earn as much as you want to on your own pen without actually growing an agency. But where I'm from, I would much rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts versus 100% of my own. So we also allow people an opportunity to be able to grow an agency, to be able to grow a team, to be able to earn an override off of other people's efforts. Now, that doesn't mean that you go and get rich off of somebody else. Like I know that there's, venues and avenues and places where you can go in this industry where, other people are not making a lot of money. They're not getting paid what they're worth because somebody else is making big old huge fat override on somebody. But within reason, to the amount of value that you're bringing to your agency, you're going to be able to earn an override off of people that come in. So if you think that you're worth $300,000 a year, if you think that you're worth $300 a year, if you think that you're worth $3 million a year, you get to decide at what level that you earn here. You can grow a big, massive team, scale it to the point to where you're irrelevant to your business. I don't like using the word insignificant. I used to say, I want to become insignificant to my income. I want the income coming in whether I'm there or not. But I don't believe that God made junk, right? So there isn't anybody that's listening to this podcast, much less sitting at this table, that isn't significant. We are all significant, but I want to be irrelevant to my income. And the only way to be able to do that is to be able to grow an organization, a business, and scale it to the part where if you're there or not, you're still getting paid.
That's
now,
right.
you can do that. You can go buy a Chick-fil-A, or, well, you can't buy a Chick-fil-A, but you can partner in a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
You can go buy Wendy's. You can go buy a McDonald's, right?
Correct.
I mean, there's Chelsea that works at McDonald's. She can push the button and shake the fries all day long because it's the system that works, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, what we do here isn't just about I'm trying to pick the right word. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'm feeling it. It's not that isn't important, because people have to eat to live.
It's part of the system.
It's part of the system.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
We do work that matters. We make a difference. We make an impact.
So do you have a team today?
I do.
Have you built a business, an agency in the insurance space?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you get in, you kind of get in where you fit in, right? And you don't know everything, and you're just making decisions, that are in front of you the best way that you can make them when you're in front of them. So, we saw the opportunity, knew a lot of people within the space. We made the best decision at that time to move forward with where we thought we were going to be and grow and that sort of thing. And so we grew a pretty large, I didn't think it was large at the time from where we came from, but, looking at the insurance world now, it's a fairly decent team, few hundred, agents. We've got a lot of unique riders every single month and that sort of thing. And then some things happen within that business, and they just didn't line up with my core values. And I felt like I needed to make a move. And the beautiful thing about this, opportunity is if this isn't the right place for you, you have an opportunity to be able to move somewhere else. Mm-hmm. There's a right way to do it. There's a wrong way to do it. And I believe that we did it the absolute best right way, but we made a decision to transition to another area. Talked to Akil, and Akil was, firmly on board with, hey, I'm going to do insurance. I want to do it with Cindy. She's looking to transition. He knew some of the things that I'd been through with my first organization, so he knew that I was looking to transition. Mm-hmm. She was looking to transition. She said, "Why don't we do it?" He said, "Why don't we do it together?" Mm-hmm. I said, "Bet. Let's roll.
Bet.
We're going to do something. We're going to do something absolutely phenomenal together, because I'm doing it with my buddy."
Yeah.
And so we found a really, really good place to land. And
so you ended up at Impact.
I'm just telling you, man, that the name says it all. Impact Legacy Group is amazing people, amazing company. Couldn't have surrounded myself with better people. And the one thing that I know is if you want to be great, you got to surround yourself with great people. Yeah. My grandma, this is all grandma story, right? My grandma, she's old country lady, educated as all get out. She's old country lady, right? She always put the R's on every word that she said, like South Carolina, or North Carolina, or Virginia, but really, really educated. But she always told me, she said, Jonathan, because she didn't call me Hindu. All my buddies call me Hindu, but she called me Jonathan. She said, Jonathan, don't surround yourself. Don't hang out with 9 dummies. Because if you hang out with 9 dummies, you'll be the 10th one. And I've never forgotten that. Yeah. And so I'm thankful that Impact Legacy Group has no dummies part of it. So.
I love it.
So what do you see here as an opportunity to scale? Because you come from an organization where you built a very sizable distribution.
Yeah.
And thousands of people in that organization.
Yep. In the direct sales organization that I was with, which was a travel idea, I shouldn't say we. Like our team, we built an organization of over 17,000 people. Now, they weren't all active at one given time, but over different years, we'd have thousands of people that were active and going out there and making things happen. And as far as like scaling, I think this is the thing that, and I brought somebody to the home office yesterday, and as numbers were being shown, I could just see his eyes lighting up, because we had built, Hindu built an organization 30-some thousand, right? Like something crazy like that. So, we all built these huge organizations, but you come over here to the insurance side and you realize, number one, it looks like a network marketing business. It sounds like network marketing. It tastes like network marketing, but it's not. Because you can go out and on your own pen, without even building a team, you can go out and you can build your check pretty significantly on your own, right?
Very healthy six figures in a very short period of time.
Right. That's not happening. And where I came from, you had to build teams to really produce that type of income, right? So that's number one thing. But then as far as like the scalability, you don't need all those big numbers. You can, of course, we want to pour in, we want to build big teams, but if we put that many people
come on now
into the insurance space,
what are we
even talking about? And some people might have to play that part a couple times to understand what I just said, because it took me a while to really understand the difference in these numbers versus the numbers that I had before. Because of the apex of my last business, I was cruising. I had $280,000 a year annual income. Most of it was residual. So whether I did anything or not, it was coming in. And for me, I thought that was great. I was in the travel space. I was going on vacations. Like, I couldn't think of a better business to be in.
True.
And that's why I kept telling him no. Because I was like, what? Travel insurance? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
But then once you see how this scales, it scales. But it also doesn't have to scale to hit those numbers.
Yeah.
But if you do scale it, then what are we talking about?
Yeah, it's a different game.
Yeah, the lifestyle. And one of the things I remember when Cindy took me out to Vegas, and I met one of the owners out there of an insurance company, and he was a great guy, and he was nice enough to offer to take us out on his private jet. And so I'm on this private jet, and I'm just like, wow, you did this through insurance, and it's like one of the fastest jets in the world. And then I call Hindu, and him and I are talking, and he's like, Akil, everybody in insurance has jets. I was like, really?
Yeah.
So
when do I get my jet?
So so we want to scale.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you saw putting 150 people into an organization yesterday when we looked at those numbers.
Yeah.
The type of earnings that can produce.
Yeah. And the thing is, and I'm going to stick to this too, is I still want to do it with people that I like.
Yeah.
I want to do it with people that are a pleasure to work with. I want to do it with people that are fun. I want to do it with people with integrity.
I think that this business, it's pretty cool because, just truthfully, we use language like cookie eaters describing people as far as their role within a business and that sort of thing. But like within insurance, it tends to have its weeding out process built in.
It's its own filters already in there.
Yeah, there you go. That's why you're over there and I'm over here. The filters. That's right. Yeah, it filters itself because I asked somebody one time. I'm like, bro, why do you have to go get a license to go do this business? And they were like, because it's a business. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't have to go get a license to do my last business. They were like, how's that working out for you? And I went, touche. You know what I mean? So it has built-in filters to where, used to we would literally push people into the business, and we did it with a good clean heart. We did it with well intentions, but at the end of the day, you can't push a dead bear up a tree. You can't put toothpaste back in the tube. You can't all those analogies that we've always
that's a first for me.
Yeah, it's true. Dead bear.
You
They're
can't
having
push,
a live one up a tree though.
you can't push a dead bear up a tree.
Not that either.
Absolutely not.
So you said something earlier when we were talking. You talked about the process of building, and you kind of gave it like three key components of growing and scaling and building a business in this space. So you start as an individual agent, and then you see the opportunity within the structure. If the organization that you're with allows for building and recruiting, where you can actually build your own agency, Impact Legacy Group does, obviously. You see three key fundamentals or a three-step process of growing and scaling.
For sure.
Can you speak to those and kind of you guys can play off each other about what that means?
Yeah, let's just talk about it because that was our life for the better part of over a decade. It was over a decade.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we talked about is there's really four. There's BS, there's BT, there's BW, there's BF. So BS isn't what you think it stands for, but BS is like build sales, right? So maybe that's a referral. You go out to somebody's home. They never became an agent, but they were a customer. But they call you up and they refer their mom, and that would be somebody that helps you build your sales organization without actually being a part of it. Someone that could be like a build through. I have a friend of mine, Jocelyn. I think she may or may not do the business. She got her license and whatnot a while ago. But shout out to Jocelyn. But she called me actually a couple days ago, and she said to me, she goes, Akil, I have somebody that I told that you mentored me for quite some time. I have somebody that he already has his license, he already has a team, and he's not happy where he's at. And he wants to come over and have a conversation with you. And so in that situation at that particular time, Jocelyn would be more like a build through because she's not actually doing the business, but through her, we're getting access to the BW. And the BW is the build with. The build with is the person that, wants to go out and build the business. So Hindu, bringing me on board, I'm a build with, right?
Yeah, well, you've got to have your build with. You know, a lot of people use the language like running buddies and that sort of thing. But it's find somebody that you can build the business with. Like if you really, really want to build the business, because there's going to be days where, you know, I don't want to pick up the phone. There's going to be, I remember, you know, several times here recently that when I call Akil, you know, Akil fires me up. You know, he's like, dude, I'm out here, I'm running these, I'm knocking on the door, and you know, you will not believe what it sat through. Yeah, I wrote him a policy. Are you kidding me? Yeah, $1,200 AB. You know, it fires me up and it wants me, and so he'll call me up and vice versa. You know, like I can't tell you how many times, you know, I've been talking with Akil and he's like, I gotta go, I gotta go run leads. I gotta call it, and they're people that you can do this business with.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what makes it fun. You know, like when we talk about the build with side, I mean, that's where most of your growth is going to come from when you're scaling an agency. And so like my first person that I was able to build with was my buddy Devin Finley. Reached out to me and was like, hey, I've been in insurance for 3 years. I've had a 6-figure income for the last 3 years. I'm not happy where I'm at. I saw you're in insurance. And at the time he reached out to me, I'm like, Devin, I'm not making any money yet. I mean, I'm just getting started, but come on, let's go. Let's do it together. We'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
And then Devin had his buddy Butters come on board and whatnot. And so that's someone he's building with. And we just get in these little group chats, kind of like how you guys have Slack. We get these little group text messages. And I'm just like, this is my appointment today. This is what I'm doing today. This is what I ate today. This is when I worked out today. This is when I did the business today. What you doing? And then he's sitting back, sending me messages, and we're getting on the phone and, you know, talking throughout our day. And I think that makes it fun because it is a business where you're a solopreneur in the beginning, right? But if you can have that community, if you can have people that you can call, like I call Hindu throughout my day, and I'm like, what are you doing? And on my ride-alongs, and I just think that makes it fun, right? So those are your build withs, and then there's the build fours.
Yeah, build fours is like my buddy Nick out of Colorado. You know, that guy's going to do this business whether I'm doing business or not. You know, he's proven that, right? I mean, whether I talk to him, whether I, you know, call him up during the day, whether we ride, no, he's just building. He's just building. He's building for him, right? And so ultimately, if you do this business right, in my opinion, you know, if you find some people that will build for themselves, it will actually build for you too at the same time. And so, yeah, to be able to get the build now, everybody, let's be real, everybody wants the build for us. Like that's the cherry on top, right?
Correct.
Everybody wants the build fours, but most people aren't willing to do the build throughs and the build withs to be able to find the build fours.
That's very good.
And so it's just like the process and procedures of getting your
the
lead
lead,
order in,
right.
making the call, setting the appointment, knocking the door. It's the same thing on the business side. So it's literally like twofold, right? So you get to become really, really good at selling the life insurance products that you offer, right? And that's great. But you also get to become really, really good at building an agency. And both of them, you get to choose whichever one you want to. You can do one, you can do other, you can do both, right? You know, I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to do both. But for me, the real reason why I want to do insurance is because I'm a team builder. I love people. I love being able to love on people. I love being able to talk people. I love being able to have people pour into me. You know, there's not many people that there's really not anybody I can think of that is in my business that I would not leave my kids with, that I wouldn't want my kids to be around, that I wouldn't want them to instill their values in my kids.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be around people like that. And that's you guys too, by the way.
That's a pretty good filter.
That's awesome.
And one thing,
That's a great filter.
one thing I would say on top of like just listening to like the build sales, the build through, the build with, the build for, build for us, I think the one common denominator in all those situations is that it's relational. You're dealing with people. And I think that what I've noticed in the industry is some people are really good at writing business, but they're not necessarily good at building teams. And I think this is the difference. The people that are good at writing business can do it because it's more transactional. It's something where
That's gold.
yeah, it's something where you can see the person, sign them up, and then, you might touch base here and there, but it's a more transactional situation. But when you go to building a team, that's relational.
Yes.
And I think that's the rub for a lot of people. And this is one of the best, if not the best person I've ever seen at like building the team. So that's why it was really simple for me to come over here and align myself with him.
There are some key things when I hear you guys talk, and Jonathan specifically, like the value of relationships, like you had said, bring value to friends. Like You're just bringing value to people. You that's just who you are. It's your nature. And I see that in the commonality between you guys. I think that's an important piece. The other one I see when you speak about things and you're in, it's conviction and joy. Like there's no question. There's no question. Like my energy levels goes up, It's and I think for our listeners, their energy level goes up.
Yeah.
It's a powerful thing. It's very cool.
The other component that I just recognized, and when you said the commonality among all four of those, right, was that it's a relational thing. I would say the common word among all of those is build.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, 100%.
Right? It's build. And what does building mean? Building means process. Building means growth. Yeah. Building means challenges.
Absolutely.
Building means personal development. Building means investment.
Right.
Building means mistakes.
Come on, keep
Building
coming.
means
I'm
like
sick of an
overcoming
offering up in here.
obstacles.
Let's go.
Building
Your
means fixing things. Building means broken relationships,
Yeah.
fixing relationships, investing time, energy, money, focus. Building means all those things. And sometimes people disconnect from the word build because it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And people are afraid of making a mistake, so they don't ever take a chance and take a risk. And I would implore anybody, I would not be in this business, man, if someone at one point in their life didn't look at me and say, you are capable of so much more.
That's right.
Chase your dream.
Absolutely.
You will find a way.
Everything in life's hard. We get to pick our hard.
Yes.
Yeah. We
being
get to
broke
pick-
is hard, man.
Absolutely.
Being
I've
broke
lived
is
with-
harder than being rich.
I've lived with money. I've lived without money. I'm picking with it every single time. I've lived with friends. I've lived without friends. I'm picking with friends every single time, right? You get to pick your hard. That's a cliche that we've heard over and over. But, it goes back to that old Art Williams,
Just do it.
just do it. Like our story. I listen to that probably at least once a week. And the reason why I do is because, we've been on the mountaintop, and we've gotten knocked back down. And when Art's like, hey, Art, I was the Mr. King at the other place. I was to do it everything over there. I was the rock
Just
star over
do
there.
it.
Do I have to do it again? Oh, you really got to do it. And I feel like that some days. You really just got to go do it.
Yeah.
But building, being able to do it together,
Powerful.
relational, everything's relational. Everything.
And when you're building,
All of that is fun.
yeah, and when
It is.
you're
fun.
building a team, and I heard Hindu say this last night at dinner, but when you're building a team, you're building a network, right? And we used to say it's network marketing, not net easy marketing, or like Hindu says, not net welfare marketing, right? So,
Network means there's work involved.
Yeah, there's got to
work
be work
involved.
involved. But we
Can't
were
take the
designed to
work out.
work. We were not designed to, I think everything in life is designed to numb us from what actually goes on. So we can sit on the couch and eat potato chips and, and think, oh, that's great. I didn't do nothing today. But how great really is that? No, you're going to get fat. You're going to be unhealthy. You're going to have a heart attack and you're going to die. How much fun is that? Instead of getting off the couch and actually doing something. We were designed to work.
but work is
climb, to explore,
Bingo.
to adventure, to
Live.
build, to challenge, to build, to live. Yes.
and when work is fun? Work is fun when you're winning.
Yeah.
Correct.
Have you ever seen sports teams and like after
Fun's in the winning,
after they
man.
lose and they go into the interview, they don't look like they're having fun. But then they interview that team that's winning, and they're a lot more loose. They're a lot more, just hey, today was a good day, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but how do you win?
So winning here is literally just about the system. Any and everybody. I've only been doing insurance for a couple of years now, right? And I'm just going to speak from personal experience, from what I've seen has happened to me, and from what I've seen happen to other people. When I plug into the system, when I follow the system, I win.
That's right.
When anybody else that I've personally seen within my groups, within inside the industry, because you're always going to have the negative Nellies, you're always going to have the naysayers, you're always, oh, well, that didn't work for me, all that other kind of stuff. But anytime I've ever seen anybody plug into a proven system and actually execute it, not listen to it, not talk about it, but actually do it, they've won every single time.
Yes.
And so how beautiful is it that we can invite our friends, our network, people are like, man, how do you have these people? Well, it's because I do what I say and I say what I do. My yes is yes. My no is no. For as long as you've known me, have you ever known me to lie to you about anything?
Never.
Okay,
Never.
so I'm telling you,
Easy to follow.
if you plug into the system with us here, you win. Period.
That's right.
In my other business, it wasn't so much. I'd never make that statement because I knew that there was just going to be some people that didn't have the network. They didn't have the resources behind them. They weren't going to be able to win. I masked it because we were in a travel club and we actually had we afforded people to take luxury vacations on what do we say? It was a champagne lifestyle on a beer budget.
There we
is
go.
what we used to say. So that was the value, but people would try to get into the business and I knew, man, they're not going to win. Here, if you just plug in the system, you're going to win.
Yeah. So that business was a little bit different because you could be a customer. Maybe you thought you were a representative, maybe you thought you were an agent, but really you were a customer.
Yeah.
And you could still have benefit there. But over here, you're an agent or you're not.
You can buy your own policy, but whether you actually help other families protect themselves, that's another thing. And whether you invite other people to that opportunity, that's another thing.
Yeah.
I think the system here is, one of the phrases that just went through my mind as you were talking about plugging into a system, being accountable. You talked about having a running buddy, find someone to build with. Is this idea of the accountability algorithm, right? If you make yourself accountable to a process and to people that you trust, you can't help but win.
Yeah, and
And
it's
the
more
magic
fun.
pixie dust is the work.
Yeah. And it's the accountability that actually sets up the guardrails for your success.
Yep.
It's the accountability that sets up the guardrails for your success.
That's just like the program. I mean, I'm just going to be 100 with you. Like last night, I did not want to go out in the misty rain at 10 o'clock at night and to get my second workout that had to be outside in. I didn't want to do it. But here's the deal. I've got so many people watch. And I'm not trying to sound narcissistic or anything else like that because I know the world doesn't revolve around me. But I've had so many people hit me up and they're applauding, they're cheering me on, you're inspiring me. And I'm like, dude, I can't let them down. I got to be able to make that post that it was 16 days in a row.
That's right.
That's right.
And it made me
Go
get
do
off
it.
my lazy rear end last night after we went out to an amazing dinner, hung out, had great conversation. You talk about doing life, man. Just the conversation last night, to be at the table, like I did my fair share of talking, of course, but I could have just listened.
Of course.
I could have just listened. It was an amazing conversation, right? Well, it's not a conversation unless you dialogue back and forth, right? So we were talking about, but I'm so grateful for being in that room. It was done, over. I should have went to bed, but I had to get it in. I was willing to do the work.
Yeah, that's right.
So-
You hit me like I was laying in bed. It's okay.
Well,
So
you
how
ate
do
the- you ate the
people,
bread
how do
too,
people
dog.
connect with you? Because your passion, your conviction, your enthusiasm is infectious. There's
Yeah.
people that are listening. There's people that are watching.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, I'm not in the right spot. I'm not in the right place. I'm in an organization that doesn't provide this opportunity. I kind of see what these guys are talking about. I've wondered if it was possible and if it's available. How do they connect with you so that they can be a part of your support organization so that maybe they're a build with?
I just want to say this to start out with. In our old business, if you could fog up a mirror, you were in. Like we would put you in. Like we had the 3-foot rule. Like anybody that was 3 feet from us, we were talking to them about our business and that sort of thing. But that's not what we do here because we don't have to do it here. The one thing I will tell somebody is if you're not happy with where you're at and you want to have a conversation about maybe why you're not happy where you're at. We're not out just actively recruiting the world and that sort of thing. We want to make sure that our values line up with your values, that we want to be able to see that we can bring value to you. If we can't bring value to you, there's no sense in you coming over here with us because we won't be able to make you happy and we'll just be another sad story that you tell somebody else that you'll want to have listen. So like
That
if
you
you
want to have listened.
I'm just being
No,
honest.
that's
I don't want to,
great. I
but
love it.
if you're looking for somebody to partner up with that will bring the energy, that knows where they're going, that knows what they're doing, that sees the bigger picture, then I would definitely say reach out to Akil or myself for sure. The easiest way to find me is my Instagram is at Jonathan, Jonathan. I spell it just like the Bible. Right? People are all the time, you put an H in there. I'm like, you go to church.
Bible
No, I put
spelled Bible.
Yeah. I hear you, dog. JonathanHendo. Jonathan Hindu. That's the easiest way to get me.
Hindu, like I do stuff.
Yeah, not will do, can do.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's great.
At Jonathan Hindu.
Jonathan Hindu
Cool,
on
man.
Instagram.
Akil?
Yeah, and like Jonathan just said, either one of us, we work together.
Yeah.
So the way you find me on Instagram would be Akil Huntley Cooper. So that's AKILHUNTLEYCOOPER.
When you get three names, it's just cooler.
You
Why
know,
not?
you
I
know
want-
that
I
you're
want
cool
three
when
names.
you have
Why
three
not?
names.
I want
Yeah.
three names.
You know, I think this was a great episode, and I hope you folks got value from it. You said something early on, Akil, in this episode. You said, "Feel the fear and do it anyway." And maybe you may be processing and hearing this message of, pick up the phone or jump on Instagram. You said Instagram. Jump on Instagram and reach out. Maybe that's the fear you're feeling. Do it anyway, because maybe you just need to have a conversation. It doesn't mean that it will lead to something that, joining an organization. It may just change your mindset. For us, when we talk about this, we talk about meeting people where they are and helping them get where they want to go. But as we do that, just expanding their vision. And if you can just turn people's shoulders a little bit, it can change their whole life. So that's what excites us. But
Yeah. And I just want to say this as we sign off here is, it's been great. Like being in the insurance space and being around both of you, Roger, Chris, and just being able to pick your brains on a regular basis and have the access that we've been afforded to have.
Wow.
It's been an amazing luxury. So we really appreciate that too. So
thanks, man.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you both and spending some time together the last day and a half here.
yeah.
And we're excited to see where you go. Can't wait to see what you're going to build.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we want to be in the build withs
Yeah.
Let's go.
category.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Life.
absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely.
And your web address is Legacy Life Co., right?
Yep.
Something like that. Legacy Life Co.
Yep. JONATHAN at legacylife.co.
That's cool. Legacy Life. I like it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I like it. Well, thank you everybody for joining on this episode. Hope you found value in it, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast.